August 23, 2010. A quiet apartment in Pimlico, central London. Police open the door following a missing persons report filed by a concerned sister. What they find inside is something straight out of a spy novel. Only this time, the story is true. In the bathtub, zipped up inside a red duffel bag, lies the naked, decomposing body of 31-year-old Gareth Williams. The bag is padlocked shut from the outside. The key, it's inside the bag, under his body. There are no signs of struggle, no fingerprints, no evidence of forced entry. And no one had seen Gareth alive in over a week, not even his colleagues at MI6. Was it a tragic accident, a secret encounter gone wrong, or a cover-up cloaked in silence? Welcome to Revealed, the podcast where we explore real-life mysteries, eerie disappearances and chilling truths that blur the line between reality and the unknown. I'm your host, Alistair Rudley, and today we dive into one of the most puzzling cases in modern British history, the case of the spy in the bag. Before headlines labelled him the spy in the bag, Gareth Williams was known for something else entirely: brilliance. Born in Wales in 1978, Gareth was a child prodigy. He completed his GCSEs at age 10, his A-levels by 13, and earned a first-class degree in mathematics from Bangor University by 17. He had a gift, not just for numbers, but for solving problems most couldn't begin to comprehend. In 1997, at age 18, Gareth left home to begin a PhD in mathematics at Manchester University. But a different kind of opportunity emerged, one from the British government. Gareth was recruited by GCHQ, the government communications headquarters, the UK's hub for code-breaking, surveillance and cybersecurity. Colleagues described him as shy, reserved, intensely private. He wasn't the type to seek the spotlight, but inside Britain's intelligence community, Gareth's skills made him indispensable. In 2010, he was temporarily seconded to MI6, the UK's secret intelligence service. His role was highly technical, a codebreaker and data analyst involved in cybersecurity and communication intercepts. According to some sources, Gareth had also worked with the NSA on tracing money laundering networks possibly linked to organised crime, including Russian mafia cells. He wasn't a field agent, he wasn't James Bond. But in the world of intelligence, knowledge can be just as dangerous as a weapon. And then, without warning, Gareth vanished. Sunday, August 15th, 2010. Gareth Williams was last seen alive, shopping in Harrods and buying steaks from a Waitrose in central London. He was due to chair a meeting the next day at MI6, but he never showed up. No alarms were raised, no welfare check. Days passed, a full week went by. It wasn't until Monday, August 23rd, 8 days later, that MI6 took action after a call from Gareth's sister alerted them to his unexplained silence. Police arrived at his government-owned apartment in Pimlico, just a short walk from MI6 headquarters. The apartment was clean, quiet, locked from the outside. Nothing appeared out of place until they entered the bathroom. Inside the bathtub, officers discovered a large red duffel bag. It had been placed upright. The zippers were secured with a Yale padlock. When they opened it, they found Gareth's body, naked, decomposing, curled in a fetal position inside the bag. The key to the padlock was lying beneath him. There were no signs of struggle, no bruises, no visible trauma, no fingerprints on the bathtub, the bag, the padlock, or the bathroom surfaces. His phone had been wiped clean. The SIM card removed. The front door of the apartment, curiously, had been removed and replaced by MI6. The heating in the apartment had been left on, despite it being summer, accelerating decomposition. Forensics determined Gareth had been dead for several days, but the circumstances surrounding his death raised more questions than answers. Why was the door replaced? Who could have placed him in the bag? And how, if he'd been alone, could he have locked himself inside of it? As the media caught wind of the strange discovery, the public response was swift and full of speculation. Who was Gareth Williams, really? And how does a trained intelligence officer end up zipped, padlocked and decomposing in a bathtub? The official police investigation began with the basics. There were no signs of forced entry into Gareth's flat. Nothing had been stolen. His work laptop was sanitized. His phone had been reset to factory settings. Forensics found no fingerprints on the bag, the lock or the bathtub, no DNA belonging to a third party, no signs of a struggle, no ligature marks, bruises or defensive wounds, but there were curiosities. In the apartment, investigators found 6 boxes of high-end women's designer clothing, tags still on, an orange wig, and a semen stain on the bathroom floor. Detectives explored the possibility that Gareth had died during a sex game gone wrong, either alone or with an unknown partner. But no one came forward. No trace of anyone else was ever confirmed inside the apartment. And one critical detail continued to haunt investigators: the bag. A man, a bag, a lock, no witnesses, no signs of a break-in, and no way, it seemed, to recreate what had been done. Investigators and experts alike struggled with the physical reality of the scene. The duffel bag had been padlocked from the outside. Gareth's naked body was inside, with the key beneath him. According to the coroner's inquest, there were no bruises, no restraint marks, no signs of suffocation. The only markings were small, superficial scratches inside the bag, near Gareth's head. These, it was later suggested, were likely caused by the key as he moved or shifted before death. But one question continued to echo through every press conference and report. Could he have done it himself? Peter Faulding, an experienced confined space specialist, didn't think so. After more than 300 attempts to recreate the scenario, using the same model of bag and padlock, he concluded it was impossible. He told investigators not even Houdini would have been able to pull it off. The inquest's conclusion in 2012 aligned with that scepticism. Dr. Fiona Wilcox, the Westminster coroner, ruled that Gareth's death was likely criminally mediated. In her words, it was more probable that a third party had been involved and had either fled or covered their tracks entirely. She called the circumstances of his death highly suspicious, and yet there was no forensic evidence pointing to anyone else. If someone had locked Gareth in that bag, they had left no trace. And over time, a new theory began to emerge, not through forensics, but through psychology. It began with a simple question: what kind of person climbs into a locked bag willingly? When the physical evidence ran cold, investigators turned to Gareth's inner world. His internet history, private habits and social behaviours began to paint a more complex and more human picture. There were internet searches for bondage positions, especially forms of self-confinement, visits to fetish websites, and designer women's clothing found in his wardrobe, never worn, still with the tags. To some, these details suggested curiosity. To others, they pointed to a secret life. The theory followed. Could Gareth have locked himself inside the bag voluntarily as part of a solo sexual experiment, one that went tragically wrong? But there were other theories too, bigger ones, more dangerous ones. Early in the investigation, whispers surfaced that Gareth had been working on sensitive assignments, tracing global money laundering routes, possibly involving Russian organised crime networks. Anonymous sources hinted that Williams had even collaborated with the NSA. Was this a targeted hit? A warning? There were comparisons to the deaths of Alexander Litvinenko and Sergei Skripal, both poisoned on British soil. Could Gareth have been the third in a line of high-profile attacks by foreign operatives? Skeptics pushed back. Retired Detective Chief Superintendent Hamish Campbell argued there was no strategic value in killing someone like Gareth. He called him a phone analyst, skilled in mobile surveillance, not a field agent. In his words, what would have been achieved by killing a junior analyst? Gareth wasn't in the field. He wasn't handling live agents. He was analysing data, mostly related to phones, encryption and surveillance. Others pointed to a darker theory, internal silencing. Had Gareth uncovered something within British intelligence itself? Some believed he may have posed a risk by threatening to leak classified information or stumble across something he shouldn't have. And then there's the theory no one can quite shake, that Gareth didn't die alone, that someone else was there, a partner perhaps, and when things went wrong, panic set in with an urgent need to disappear. Some investigators believe that whoever was with Gareth may have fled the scene, wiping away every trace to avoid scandal or legal repercussions. But there's one final theory that continues to defy belief, and yet it's the one backed by the most recent findings, that Gareth alone locked himself inside that bag. It sounds impossible, and yet more than a decade after Gareth Williams was found dead, it's the theory that's gaining the most official traction. In February 2024, Scotland Yard released the findings of a new forensic review, one that re-examined the evidence using advanced techniques unavailable in 2010. Items from Gareth's apartment were resubmitted for testing. The duffel bag, the padlock, its key, a green towel from the kitchen cupboard. Analysts hoped that after all these years, some trace might emerge, a fingerprint, a foreign DNA sample, a missed fibre, anything. But the results were underwhelming. No new DNA was discovered on the bag, the lock or the key. A single DNA profile was recovered from the towel, and it belonged to Gareth. The conclusion, according to Detective Chief Inspector Neil John, was that there was no forensic evidence to support the involvement of anyone else. His statement read plainly, "It is more likely that Gareth was alone when he died." For some, it was a quiet closing of the case. For others, especially Gareth's family, it offered no comfort at all. They remained convinced that something darker happened, that Gareth, with all his intellect and discipline, would never have attempted something so dangerous alone, and if he had, why would there be no signs of struggle, no attempt to escape? The coroner's inquest in 2012 had ruled his death criminally mediated. The latest review now suggests the opposite. Two official positions, 12 years apart, and still no certainty. If Gareth locked himself in, he took the secret of Hal with him, and if someone else did it, they left without a trace. In life, Gareth Williams was a prodigy, a brilliant mind working in the shadows, decoding secrets no one else could see. In death, he became a mystery that not even the most advanced investigations could unravel. Was it a tragic accident born of personal experimentation, a crime of passion covered in silence, or the quiet elimination of someone who knew too much? Officially, there is no crime. What we're left with is a paradox. A man who lived in secrecy and died in one too. The case of Gareth Williams may be closed on paper, but in the eyes of the public and in the hearts of those still searching for answers it remains open, waiting to be solved. This has been Revealed. If you found this episode compelling, consider subscribing and leaving a review. It helps more people uncover stories just like this. We hope you'll join us again soon as we investigate another true story where the evidence speaks, but the answers remain silent. Thank you for listening. Until next time.